Yo, 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 yo. What's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Doing fantastic.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs Weedman and I are about to get normal with some garlic breath. Hopefully I don't get any after smoking it. Grown by our friend Ignius, and the cut came from Big Earl. Garlic breath is a super rare indica-dominant hybrid strain created through crossing the powerful Hog's Breath and Chemdog 2BX2 strains. Named for its surprisingly garlicky flavor, garlic breath is a favorite of indica lovers for its super calming high that's perfect for a late night when you just can't seem to get to sleep. The high starts with a subtle lift of spirits that infuses you with a sense of pure happiness and ease, erasing any negative or racing thoughts immediately. An influx of creativity accompanies the blissful state, lending itself well to tasks that don't require too much focus. As your mind settles, you'll become washed over with a super sleepy feeling that drops you a state of pure sedation and ease. With these effects and its high being around 16 to 18% average THC level, garlic breath is said to be perfect for treating those suffering from insomnia, depression, chronic stress, nausea, and chronic fatigue. Garlic bread has a deliciously savory garlic and herbs flavor that lingers long after you final toke. The aroma is sharp, pungent chemicals with a notable punch and earthy garlic herbs. This bud has spade-shaped minty green nugs with a bright orange hairs and a sandy coating of amber crystal trichomes. The effects, calming, creative, happy, hungry, sleepy, may relieve depression, fatigue, insomnia, nausea, and stress. The flavors are herbal, pine, spicy, woody. Aromas are chemical, herbal, pungent, spicy, and woody. And this is garlic breath given to us by our friend Ignius. Thanks for throwing to the cause, brother. I
Thanks,
appreciate you as
Ignius.
always.
Always good. Always good.
And while I'm smoking this big fat joint we rolled tonight for the show, Mrs. Weedman's going to tell you a little bit about 8decades.com.
Yeah. If you don't know, now you will. 8 Decades is our cannabis lifestyle brand. So head on over to 8decades.com. That is EIGHT decades.com. There you will find a tab that will bring you links to the podcast. There will be a tab where you can shop and get Weedman 420 Chronicles swag.
Yay.
And there will be 8 Decades goods. So check out our store.
Yay.
Grab some goods for yourself on your first order. You can subscribe to our newsletter and get free shipping. So check us out. We've got some great stuff there. It's all our own stuff that we designed and developed. And if we didn't design and develop it, then we collaborated with a reputable brand to bring you good product. So check us out and see what we're all about.
And as we always say, you support the show. We keep on doing a show every week, and we could pay our producer Shotty because we love her. Also, I have a new store alert. Starbuds Summit.
That's right.
New store alert. Starbuds has been a great partner to the 8 Decades with Weedman 420 Chronicles. We'd like to thank Starbuds in a new store, Summit, Illinois. It's 5436 South Harlem Avenue, Summit, Illinois. And it's on Harlem and I think just north of Archer.
It's
right?
at the intersection of Archer and Harlem.
Yeah, it's right over there.
You can't miss it.
Great store. All their stores are great. So if you haven't visited them before, check them out at Burbank, Illinois, Hoffman Estates, Riverside, Summit, and Westmont. 5 stores here in Illinois, and they're growing. They've been a great partner to us. We love them for some of the greatest sales, greatest shopping experience, a phenomenal menu of all different brands and flavors of edibles, tinctures, flour, concentrates, carts, vape carts. Their selection is great. They always have something on sale and many things on sale. Check them out, all their stores. And if you're not in this state and might be in one of these other states, you might want to check them out in Maryland, Mississippi, New York, and Oklahoma. And there is Starbuds in Colorado too.
And for clarification, you might think that, oh, you're saying they're in all these states and they have so many stores, they must be an MSO. No. It is actually a family-owned business. Yes, they are multi-state operators, but it is a family-owned business, and it is a generational family-owned business. There's cousins and brothers, and it's just all family. His dad is in the shop sometimes.
Oh, his dad's my favorite person in the whole world.
Yeah. So they do the right thing. They are good businessmen and women, and they have a great store to shop from. So check them out.
Great partners. We'd like to thank our Starbucks family, Musa, AJ, Mo, and Basil. Thank you, fellas, for always taking care of us and making sure 8 decades is a part of your home. We love you. We appreciate you. And yes, I mean, what a crazy week. The weather change for the better, right?
That's right.
Today was a beautiful day here in northern Illinois.
We're on a hot streak.
Yeah, I mean,
40 degrees. Like summer. Where's my bikini?
Did you say you saw somebody walking around with a t-shirt and shorts?
Oh, yeah. There was the guy wearing
always one
cargos and a t-shirt, short sleeve t-shirt, no hoodie. I mean, usually guys have like a hoodie on or something, right? No, this guy was just like, I'm going for it. He kind of had a smirk, which he told me one of two things. He was cold or he felt a little stupid because it really wasn't that warm.
Next week, it's going to be 58 one day. There's going to be many people going in their closets and busting out some shorts and T-shirts that day. Because this is Illinois, and in Chicago especially, if you're walking down the streets and you just do the double take, there's usually somebody, when the weather breaks a little bit, there's somebody wearing shorts and a T-shirt.
Always.
And you're just like, what is that person wearing?
We have a brother-in-law who wears shorts.
Every
year
day.
round.
It'd be 30
in
below.
Chicago.
Yeah. It'd be 30 below and he still wears shorts.
A little loafer with no socks.
Yes, no socks.
brave man.
I don't know how he does it. I really don't. Just
no jacket.
No. The weather's breaking a little bit here, and we're gonna get a little bit of break for the next couple of weeks. I think across the country, from like the plains all the way to the East Coast, we're gonna get a little bit of warm weather. Melt some of that snow and get some vitamin D in us and stuff. So I'm looking forward to the nice weather and being able to go outside a little bit more and not hiding in the house for a week or for a month because it was so cold. You were telling me a story a couple of days ago. The Olympics has started, everybody, and we like the Olympics summer. Whenever we watch it, here and there. We have it on throughout the whole day. We're catching different things. But you told me about something that's been going on in the ski jumping world.
Yeah. I heard about this, on opening day. This was the talk of the day.
I had to do some research after you told me about the inflatable package to help them fly better.
Mm-hmm.
So you ever think ski jumping would be at the center of this controversy right now in Olympic history? Have you ever thought this would be like a...
No, I was just like, wait, what are they? Whatever I was doing at the moment, I just stopped and spun around. I was like, what are they talking about?
So here's the gist of it. The World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA, WADA for short, they vowed to really investigate this bizarre set of claims that's just bubbling around the Milan Winter Olympics, right? And this started with a reporter from Germany and suggesting that some male ski jumpers might be trying to manipulate the size of their package crotch area to get some edge.
Airtime. Airtime.
Seriously, like grow your gear hack level, grow it big.
Well, not about growing your genitalia. This isn't about getting your shit bigger. This is about getting your fabric looser in that region.
Shit bigger though to get the fabric bigger.
No, you'd be heavier. That would drag you.
Literally.
So flapping in the wind.
I did a little investigation here, and the theory goes like this: ski jumpers get 3D body scanned each season, and those measurements are helping determine how much fabric they can legitimately get into their ski suits, right? So slightly more surface area can mean better aerodynamics and liftoff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which in the sport is really about flying right through the air. You take this huge giant ski hill downhill and you just launch flying, right? And this could equal into longer jump time because they get measured by how far they go, right? It's not about how there is one too. I think they measure how high, how long you stay in the air, but the main point is to the distance, right? So, and according to some sources, jumpers might be using injections.
Yeah.
Or hyaluronic acid, right? Is that what you were telling me about? Some kind of acid? I found out it was hyaluronic acid. Yeah.
Lube it up.
This is the stuff you hear about in fancy cosmetic treatments, right?
Yeah.
from what I researched,
Yeah.
right? It's for like
Mhm, mhm.
injections, right?
Moisture.
Yeah,
Mhm.
moisture. So, but they're doing it into their genitals before the measurements to artificially increase that area so they qualify for a larger suit.
Oh, they're plumping up.
Just like the guy from
I'm
in the
ready to
Summer
plump
Olympics.
you up.
Just like the guy in the Summer Olympics, the
Yeah.
pole jumper, and I
Yeah.
think he enlarged
Oh,
his
his stuff fell
genitalia.
out,
Well, no,
right?
it hit the bar and he
Oh, it was in the
lost.
way,
It went up
right.
and it hit the
His third leg got in the way.
No, before this turns into some fucking we go out of control here on this episode. This isn't bodily modification kind of shit, though. We're not going to talk about all that, but to be clear, there's no confirmed proof anyone's actually doing this, though. And the WADA president even joked about looking into this, saying ski jumping is super popular in his home country of Poland. And the director general said they're going to review it if it's credible evidence emerged and if it's truly fell under doping.
Well, they were also
They're going to
talking about
consider this doping.
No, they were also talking about the day that this news broke, Crotchgate, is that what it's called?
Mm-mm.
Penisgate.
Penisgate.
Well, the day Penisgate broke as a headline, they were also talking about the fabric. Because you
Right.
think about it, like if they webbed the crotch, like if they webbed the inner thigh area of their suit,
Right.
they could go flying. If they slightly webbed like their armpits,
Right.
that'd be like
Kind of like one of those guys that fly with the webbing, right? Off the,
right.
Yeah,
That's the theory behind
Yeah.
this whole thing.
Okay.
So it was fabric and it was skin.
Because like the
your
air will
article
hit them
just
like
talked about the
like they're
skin.
parachuting kind of,
Yeah,
and
and
they're
then
just gliding more an extra.
Right. They
an
might get
extra
another foot.
An extra foot can win you a
An
gold
extra
medal.
foot. You get it here, you get it there.
get it. Hey, Mr. Weedman's got the one-liners tonight. Woo! So I guess they're like you said, they called it penis gay. And they're watching now. They're watching the penis.
Like they could see anything.
They're watching the penises right now. And
Yeah,
see if
they're staring at every guy's.
see
Shit.
if it inflates.
Oh, it doesn't look natural.
It's,
Oh, that one
Listen,
for sure.
They're investigating this because it can threaten the fairness
Yeah,
of the
it could.
sport.
It could.
Oh, a little extra inch or two ain't gonna hurt nobody.
A foot could. Literally.
Always something in the
like the
Olympics,
danger
right?
zone.
There's always something.
There's always something.
I mean, you and I have been watching the Olympics since we were kids. I mean, it's
Got to be an
always
Olympic
something.
controversy.
Always. There's not one without it, right?
Mhm.
There's not something funny that we get to bring up on the show now every 4 years or 2 years when the Olympics shows up again. 4 years for summer and 2 years for winter. Or is it 4 and 4 again? I can't remember.
Well, now it's every 2 years because they alternate.
For the winter, right?
It's really every 4 years, I think.
Okay, but
They alternate
2 and 2.
Yes, 2 and 2.
It takes a
So
lot of
they're-
work and a lot of money to do this.
Yeah.
Do these Olympics? They're saying like $2-3 billion
I don't understand why they don't just have an Olympic city
because
and then just keep it updated. And then athletes can go there to practice and it would be more cost effective. Everybody
they do
knows
have
where it's at.
they build an Olympic. They do.
I'm saying
build
like quit building them every time.
it's very good for this country that gets the
How does
award.
okay, that's kind of like our later article. Pumping up the value of something,
Right.
right? Like just to make numbers look good so
Yep.
you can get capital and you can make things
Right.
happen. Oh, yeah. We're going to build a $62 billion Olympic village and it's going to pay for itself.
I don't think
I
it's
don't.
62
I'm
billion.
just saying.
I get what you're saying though.
I'm just
but I
saying.
think a lot
Does
of
it
it's
really?
a lot of it's paid for through sponsorship dollars.
Right.
A lot
And
of it
then
is.
guess what? Your Nikes are $200 now, right?
Yeah. Except those new Jordans, they go a little higher. I
I mean,
think.
we're all paying for it somehow, right?
Yeah. But I mean,
So they
people
can
enjoy it, right?
Pump it up.
Pump it up with
Pump
that
it up.
hypo.
What's that song from the 90s?
Pump
it up,
it up.
homeboy. No. Oh, yeah, that one too. Oh, now I forgot mine.
Pump it up, homeboy. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
just like that. Pump it up. Pump it up. It was like a really groovy dance song from the 90s.
Mrs. Weedman.
I'm going to find it. Hey, you're going to wish you knew this song sooner.
Oh, before I'm going to get the show started. You ready? While you're looking for it, or did you find it?
Oh, I'll find it.
All right, let's get the show started. We'll stop. So Mrs. Weedman finds it. So this story is actually kind of cool. And it may make you rethink some assumptions about cannabis and the aging brain. This was all over the internet all week. Holy smokes. I mean, I must have saw like 15 to 20 articles about just this, like how this is from CU Auschwitz News, though, and it's about how cannabis used in middle age and older adults might be connected to bigger brain volumes and better cognitive function. The study looked at data from over 26,000 adults between 40 and 77 years old, which is huge data set when you're talking about brain science. They pulled it from a giant health resource called the UK Biobank, which we've talked about in the past, and compared people who reported cannabis use to those who didn't. Now, traditional thinking has often been like cannabis, brain fog, memory loss, side effects, blah, 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 blah. But what these researchers found might smoke that stereotype out the window a bit. Folks who reported cannabis use had larger regional brain volumes in areas that matter for things like memory, attention, processing speed, and executive function, the stuff you use when you're trying to remember where you left your lighter or count how many gummies you got left. And yeah, bigger brain volumes aren't automatically always better in every context. Size isn't everything. All depends on who you ask. Even in the brain. But in aging brains, maintaining volume often correlates with preserved cognitive function, which is a big deal when we think about like dementia, which we talked about on the last episode, and age-related decline, which we did that article last on the last week's episode about dementia and how cannabis can help. One of the lead researchers, Dr. Anna Kagua, straight up admitted she was surprised by how many positive links they saw between cannabis use and brain structure. But she also stressed to keep in mind the cannabis products people use weren't controlled in the study. We're talking real world use with unknown potencies, different strains, varied frequencies of use. So it's not a clear clinical trial. It's a more like looking out into the forest and seeing patterns. Here's where it gets nuanced. Moderation seemed to be the sweet spot. People in moderate use group tended to show the strongest combinations of larger regional brain volumes and better cognitive scores. But interestingly, in a couple of specific areas like visual memory and learning, even the heavier users had some positive links. It wasn't a uniform effect across the board, which means the cannabis brain relationship is complex and probably tied to dose, product type, age, lifestyle, and maybe even sex differences in how cannabinoids interact with the endocannabinoid system. But not everything was sunshine and roses. The study also showed lower volume in one brain region for heavier use. The posterior cingulate, which is involved in memory and emotion, and is also a region that's kind of complicated in terms of what changes in volume actually mean. Some research even suggests that a smaller posterior cingulate might be tied to better working memory in certain contexts. So it's not totally a one-way street. It's more of a mosaic of effects. And right here is the key takeaway. The study didn't conclude causation, meaning they didn't prove cannabis made the brains bigger or smarter. It's an association, a pattern in the data that suggests a link. But we still don't know all the factors behind it. Could be lifestyle differences, could be over health behaviors, could be cannabis interacting with aging biology in wild ways like influencing inflammation of the neural health. But that's where future research needs to go. Even some experts in other cannabis brain research highlight that cannabis effects vary across the lifespan. Good in one phase, neutral in the other, maybe a negative if someone starts super young or uses heavy for decades. That's why context, dose, and individual health matters so much. So if you're middle-aged or older and you're sparking up your favorite strain, the study doesn't say cannabis equals brain boost. It does say there's some intriguing evidence that cannabis use in adulthood coincides with maintained brain volume and strong cognitive performance, especially when used moderately. And that's pretty fucking interesting, if you ask me, Mrs. Weedman.
That's right.
And we'll keep on, like we always say, as more research comes out. We've been talking about the brain a lot in a bunch of episodes, more and more, because weed doesn't make you stupid, everybody. This is what they're trying to tell you. Basically, that we've been forced to hear that weed makes you stupid, makes you dumb, makes you lazy. All these articles we've been reading for the last 6.5, almost 7 years now have all been about why cannabis is good for you. And this tells you moderation. But Mrs. Weedman has taught Mr. Weedman for 31 years. It's all moderation, Mr. Weedman. Right, Mrs. Weedman?
That's right.
That's it. It's all about moderation, everybody. But this is cool. The latest CBD scientific research from Western Washington University.
Yeah, this is some big news.
Big news. Tell us
Yep.
about it, Ms. Weedman.
Josh Kaplan, PhD, is a neuroscientist and associate professor in the behavioral neuroscience program at the Western Washington University, where his lab focuses on optimizing CBD-based medicines for pediatric conditions. His work examines not only CBD's therapeutic potential, but also its long-term developmental effects on the brain, an area of growing importance as cannabinoid therapies move deeper into clinical use. Kaplan's interest in CBD research began in 2015 when he was asked to evaluate Epidiolex in a mouse model of pediatric epilepsy. The treatment, Epidiolex, is a synthetic cannabinoid medication. It's a prescription. If you have cancer, if you have seizures, you can be prescribed this by a regular medical doctor. So the treatment produced significant seizure reduction in cases where other medications had failed. The results were striking and sparked his interest into a deeper investigation of CBD and how it might work in other pediatric conditions. While different medical conditions require different dosing, Kaplan's lab is also exploring whether the same medication or formulation could be effective across a range of symptoms by adjusting the dose. Can we improve CBD-based medicine by expanding that dose window so that regardless of whether you're trying to treat epileptic seizures or improve social behaviors and communication deficits, a single formulation could be effective? Expressed Kaplan. The lab also takes a bottom-up research approach, examining what is happening inside the brain at a cellular level. Many pediatric neurological conditions, including epilepsy and autism, are associated with altered protein expression and disrupted communication between neurons. Kaplan's team applies CBD, sometimes in combination with terpenes, such as beta-caryophyllene and linalool, to examine how these compounds affect molecular
There you go.
signaling and neuronal communication. Wow. For example, the hippocampus, I can say that, often implicated in seizures, can be studied to assess whether CBD dampens excessive neural excitation. Other regions, such as the amygdala or the prefrontal cortex, are examined for changes related to anxiety, depression, and cognitive function. What is CB doing there? Asks Kaplan. We can zoom in on specific regions of the mouse brain and start manipulating them with CBD and other terpenes to see how it alters those communication patterns, which are known to change in characteristic ways across different neurological conditions. He explains that with epilepsy or autism, there's a shift in the brain's balance toward excessive excitation and signaling that can lead to seizures, hypersensitivities, and certain repetitive behaviors characteristic of autism. We can see that actually playing out in the cellular communication patterns that we're observing. Then we might explore what CBD is doing on those patterns. What is beta-caryophyllene doing? What happens when you put them together? That's the approach we're taking, Kaplan said. While anecdotal evidence around the entourage effect is widespread, there's little clinical validation, particularly for combinations of CBD and terpenes rather than THC-based formulations. Although Kaplan's lab is beginning to generate early preclinical data indicating promising results for targeted and custom CBD and terpene formulations. Previous research has shown that repeated stress or trauma during critical developmental periods can alter brain connectivity, leading to long-term behavioral and mental health challenges. In a recent unpublished preclinical study, Kaplan's team examined whether CBD could remedy. Wow. It's like
Garlic breath.
it's more that it's like I'm looking at what I'm reading, but like my mind just wants to space out. And then everything just kind of like blurs and I'm like, where am I?
You smoke
That's
too
all
much.
happening.
You smoke
Yeah.
too
But I feel
much,
at the
Mrs.
same time,
Weedman.
I feel very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's that? If you're new to the show, the intention of our smoking at the start of the show is because we just freaking enjoy it. But we also talk about the strain and what we're smoking so that we can help stomp the stigma about cannabis and that it makes you lazy and it makes you incapable of doing anything. Right now, I'm not demonstrating any of that very well.
Your cognitive brain function
My
is
brain
not
function
enlarged anymore.
is
It's shrinking.
my amygdala is like, "Meh." So we do get really baked
Mhm.
just to show you what the strain does to you, and what it does to me and what it does to Mr. Weedman can be different, completely different.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
all that. So I can't keep my brain on any one subject for very long, so I'm going to go back to the article. All right. Kaplan's team examined whether CBD could remedy early stress-related effects on brain development. Using an established animal model, the researchers induced early life stress and observed measurable changes in proteins involved in how brain cells connect and communicate. Following stress exposure, the mice were treated with either CBD alone, beta carophylline alone, or a combination of the two. Neither compound on its own produced meaningful changes in altered protein expression. However, when CBD and beta carophylline were administered together, the combination effectively reversed the stress induced molecular disruptions. These findings suggest that cannabinoids and terpenes interact with distinct receptors and signaling proteins, influencing neuronal circuits and communication between brain regions. Kaplan emphasizes that cannabinoids do not activate one another. Rather, their parallel actions converge to produce coordinated effects. Whoa. Across neural networks. How's that for entourage effects?
That's crazy.
This framework helps explain the benefits of combined CBD and terpene treatments, highlighting how multi targeted strategies can modulate brain function more effectively than single compounds alone. It's an early step toward understanding which compound combinations and dosing strategies are most effective for specific conditions. Why do people wear cologne or perfume? Why do we have scented candles? It makes us feel relaxed and comfortable, said Kaplan. While earlier experiments demonstrated clear effects with oral ingestion, Kaplan believes that each method of consumption may have its own benefits. Another line of research in Kaplan's lab examines how different cannabis components influence endocannabinoid expression. Anandamide, often referred to as the bliss molecule, is an endogenous cannabinoid that activates the brain's cannabinoid receptors and plays an important role in mental health and well being. In autism, children often have lower levels of anandamide, and raising those levels may lead to improved social behaviors and communication, as well as other quality of life measures. Kaplan's lab tested whether CBD alone would alter anandamide levels using a mouse model of autism spectrum disorder and measured outcomes using mass spectrometry. They found that CBD and beta-carophylline increased anandamide levels. You put the two together and think you'll get a massive effect, Kaplan explained. Actually, though, they contradicted one another and led to a reduction. He added, the most exciting part about this field is the complex profile of how these different chemicals are working and the targets they're acting on in the brain and body. It creates a challenge because it's not as straightforward as we think. Kaplan's lab began its terpene investigations with beta-carophylline, which is widely considered the only terpene known to directly interact with the endocannabinoid system. It can activate CB2 receptors in a manner similar to endogenous cannabinoids, such as anandamide and 2-AG, as well as THC. While Kaplan's team has observed therapeutic benefits from beta-carophylline, they are also examining common terpenes including linalool, myrcene, and others. Kaplan's research has also revealed pronounced sex-based differences in terpene responses. In one published study, mice were exposed to vaporized linalool or myrcene for short periods. Female mice consistently showed reduced anxiety and actively sought out the terpene exposure. Male mice, by contrast, initially showed positive benefits from brief exposure, but displayed heightened anxiety under longer exposure conditions. When exposure time was reduced to a single brief dose, male mice exhibited the same anxiety reducing benefits as females. The findings suggest that females may be less sensitive to terpene intensity or odor, while males may reach sensory saturation more quickly. These differences highlight dosing and exposure thresholds as critical variables in terpene based formulations. Kaplan's lab is also exploring the biological mechanisms underlying these sex specific responses, with a particular focus on estrogen. Existing evidence indicates that estrogen modulates the endocannabinoid system, and Kaplan's team has found that CBD increases anandamide levels in the brain more strongly during periods of elevated estrogen. This hormonal influence may help explain why cannabinoids and terpenes produce different effects across sexes and hormonal cycles. Gosh, there is just so much to learn about this plant.
So
So
much.
much to learn. So, what's next for Kaplan's lab? With foundational studies now established, Kaplan is turning his attention to deeper molecular and physiological mechanisms to better understand what is happening beneath the surface and to help inform more reliable cannabinoid based medicines. One key area of investigation is the gut brain axis. Kaplan's team is exploring how CBD and related compounds influence the gut microbiome and immune signaling, both of which play a critical role in regulating brain inflammation and neurological health. So, I personally love seeing all this science happening and all these studies that are looking into the positive benefits of cannabinoids, and we will continue to seek out more information and any studies that are happening.
Yeah, great
So,
article by Cannabis Industry Journal and great
mhm.
journalism by Pam Chimley.
Yeah.
Chimley? Yes. Great stuff. Uh, where am I? So
Mhm.
stoned. Good job,
See? Aren't you,
Ignius.
like, clear-minded, though?
Oh,
But then
yeah.
totally
So
stoned.
clear. Yeah.
But totally stoned.
Totally stoned.
But I feel fine until I have to do something.
It did say this is like you start off clear-minded
Yeah.
and creative, but then all of a sudden it
Yeah.
puts you in a nice little
Bonk.
mellow, just
It's
really nice. It's very nice, Ignius. Thank you.
great.
And a great cut by Big Earl. Appreciate you guys. In this article, we got science meets stoner myth busting story for all of you out there. This one comes from Sci Post, and it's all about whether stress can pull the THC you've stored in fat back into your bloodstream. You know, like those rumors you might have heard about getting re-high after exercise, cold plunges, or just intense life stress. So here's the setup. THC, the main psychoactive compound, is lipophilic, which basically means it loves fat and gets stored in your body's fatty tissue long after your last hit in the joint or your edible. Scientists have seen trace amounts of THC hanging out in fat cells for weeks after consumption. Naturally, people started wondering if stress triggers fat breakdown, like when you're fasting, stressed, or going through some wild workout, could that stored THC get released back into your blood and make you feel something? Well, I'd be high all the time. I mean, I am, but literally, like, I'd be stoned from the time I wake up from the
Mhm.
time I go to sleep because I fast for 10 hours every day, right? I work out once or twice a day. I take Yuki for a walk. I don't do the cold plunge. Fuck you. I hate cold water. Uh, so I do a lot of this stuff, and we smoke a couple times a day, right?
Mhm.
Take edibles before we go to bed. On the weekends, we smoke a lot. I would literally be high 24/7. Seriously.
Yeah.
So, but this article talks more about like so tackle this question that I've asked, and glad I found this article. Researchers led by Daniel McCartney at the University of Sydney designed a neat little experiment with real cannabis users. They recruited 15 regular tokers, folks who had been lighting up for at least 3 days a week, and asked them to abstain for at least 12 hours ahead of time, so no fresh THC was floating around. Then, to crank up the stress dial, they did something most of us wouldn't wish on our worst enemy: cold water immersion.
Ugh.
Fuck that. We're
It would
talking,
literally kill me.
and they only did shoulder up to
Couldn't
the
handle it.
shoulders, but they only did 50 degrees.
Wow.
I've watched people take like
Like ice.
like
Straight up ice.
75
Whoa.
pounds of ice and put it in a tub and sit in that shit up to their neck.
Mm.
Hell no. Hell to the MF no.
I would literally have an anaphylactic attack.
You would have.
I really would.
My back would freeze up for sure. So 50 degrees, water for 10 minutes. It's basically ice bath territory.
Mm.
Heart rate goes up, blood pressure spikes, your brain goes, why are you doing this to me?
Mm-hmm.
The whole fight or flight stress response lit up. And sure enough, their body responded exactly the way stress and fat burning are supposed to. Free fatty acids and glycerol, markers of the lipolysis, increased in the blood. That's the biochemical proof that fat breakdown was happening. But here's where it gets interesting. Even though the body wasn't breaking down fat, the THC levels in the bloodstream stayed flat. No spike, no re-release that would give you a surprise buzz. No sudden change in the levels of THC in the main metabolite, the 11-CHOOH-THC. Zilch. Nada. Nothing. They even checked cognitive function, things like reaction time, attention reasoning, and saw no change. And when participants were asked how stoned they felt, only a barely detectable blip, like a couple of points on the 100-point scale, which the researchers think was probably just a shock of the ice water. Fuck yeah, it was. Not actually THC effects. They also looked at oral fluid, the kind of saliva that test cops or workplaces might use, and didn't see stress turning normal. Clean results into false positives. That's big if you ever worried about a bad day or a killer gym sesh might make you fail a drug test. You know, that's pretty big. So now hear this. This study didn't include heavy chronic users or extreme stress conditions like starvation or marathon workouts. So the jury's still out on those edge cases. But for everyday stressors, cold showers, gym workouts, a tough day at the office, this research suggests your body isn't going to magically dump stored THC back into your system in meaningful amounts. All it's going to do is burn fat. You know, body's breaking it down like I talked about in the other paragraph. So it'll burn some fat, but won't get you turned up. So the takeaways, the old idea that lipolysis, re-release, and surprise reintoxication. Myth. Doesn't hold up under the controlled science vibe. You don't have to worry about the stress is going to send your body into a THC turbo mode and suddenly make you high and fail a test. Your fat might be storing THC molecules, sure, but the study suggests that stress isn't that key that unlocks them and blasts them back into your body, right? So, in another example of science keeping it real with this cannabis info, dispelling myths, Mrs. Weedman. We're the Mythbusters on this show, right? Clarifying what actually happens in our bodies and giving the community solid data to geek out on. And I have to say, for all you curious stoners, burners, and potheads who love digging into this shit and you love this kind of vibe, this kind of research is like rolling the perfect joint. Satisfying, enlightening, and smooth. Just like Mrs. Weedman likes it. Right?
Yeah.
When you roll a joint. So, men. We were at a Super Bowl party on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out in the garage.
Yes.
And it was you and all men.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And
Pretty
it was all
common.
men. Pretty common, yes. You like hanging around men. And
That's true.
no,
like
you
hanging
do.
around men.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
There was like 6 guys around a table. You and I were standing up, right? And they were all smoking weed, drinking beer, and talking. Just a bunch of men shit, right? So this article reminded me of that moment. So cannabis is becoming the new third place
for men.
Tell us about Mrs.
But
Weedman.
before that, you need to hear something. Hold on.
Oh, is this the song? I know the song.
This isn't really it. This is a mix. No, it's not really I'm not a good DJ. Forget it. So that was a Lean On Me reprise of Pump It Up. But this band is called Club Nouveau, and it's from 1986.
Oh.
And they did the Pump It Up Homeboy.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll find it.
Don't play it again, though, because YouTube might...
I know, I screwed it up.
No, YouTube might be like, oh, you're playing a song you're not allowed to play.
Oh, geez.
So look up the song.
Shut us down.
Yeah, they might shut...
you probably won't even hear it.
They might shut that little segment down, everybody. Sorry about that if they do. But we only played it for like 2 seconds, so maybe they won't catch it.
Okay.
The eyes in the sky.
Oops. Look at me. Just going off, doing my own thing over here.
I love it. I love it. I hope YouTube don't ban us.
I hope so.
You
All
hope
right.
so? Damn.
I hope they do not. All right. In recent years, the landscape of socialization for men has been quietly transforming as traditional third places like bars, coffee shops, community centers where people gather outside of work and home evolve. Cannabis is increasingly filling the role for a growing number of men across the United States and beyond. With changing cultural norms, shifting in drinking habits, and a broader acceptance of cannabis use, this plant is emerging as a central thread in male social life. It seems cannabis is becoming the new third place for men. For decades, bars and pubs were often seen as the quintessential third place for men, a space to unwind after work, connect with friends, and build community. However, research and cultural trends indicate alcohol consumption among younger generations is on the decline. Millennials and Gen Z are drinking less than their predecessors, whether for health reasons, economic considerations, or simply a change in lifestyle preferences. According to surveys conducted in recent years, many adults now view alcohol as less central to their social lives, opting instead for activities feeling more mindful or wellness oriented. At the same time, cannabis has undergone a remarkable shift in public perception. Once stigmatized and relegated to the margins of society, marijuana is now legalized for adult use in more than half of the United States. This rapid shift has brought cannabis into everyday conversations and has allowed adult users to engage with it openly without fear of legal repercussions or social judgment. As a result, cannabis lounges, private social events, and even informal gatherings centered around consumption are becoming more common. Men in particular are finding appeal in these new forms of social interaction. Cannabis offers a way to relax and connect without the pressure of drinking heavily. Many report cannabis enhanced gatherings feel more focused on meaningful conversation, creativity, and shared experience rather than competition or intoxication. In group settings, cannabis can facilitate a sense of calm and introspection, opening the door to deeper discussions and bonding. Another factor contributing to this trend is the rise of cannabis friendly businesses and spaces. In cities where adult use cannabis is legal, lounges and social clubs provide environments specifically designed for communal consumption. These spaces mirror many of the functions that bars traditionally served, but with a different cultural vibe. Instead of loud music and beer taps, patrons might find lounges with art, music, or curated educational experiences about strains and consumption methods. The changing role of cannabis in male social life also reflects broader shifts in how men are approaching well being. While it is too soon to say cannabis will completely supplant traditional third places, the evidence suggests a noticeable shift. As norms around substance use continue to evolve and legal access expands, cannabis is carving out a place in the social fabric. For many men, it is not just a substitute for drinking, rather, a new context for building community, fostering connection, and redefining leisure. In the broader cultural conversation, cannabis may soon be recognized as a catalyst for a new kind of social space. And I
Great.
hope it does.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me too. It is enjoyable. I mean, when you're hanging out,
Mhm.
playing cards, smoking some weed, drinking a beer, bullshitting, sitting around the coffee table, bullshitting,
Mhm.
busting chops, telling stories about the good old days. Political state and business news. Licensed marijuana companies in Missouri are officially throwing elbows, suing dozens of smoke shops for selling THC hemp flower. Cannabis companies say it's basically weed in disguise, dodging taxes and regulations while cutting into dispensary sales. Smoke shops fire back saying, Farm Bill, baby. The legal smoke off could reshape the hemp versus marijuana battlefield real quick. Here's what I gotta say, Missouri. Your cannabis industry brought in over $1 billion in 2025. I'm sure the hemp industry maybe brought in about 400 million, maybe more. It's a fair game. You're bringing in way more money, and these small business owners that are bringing in THC light for people that don't want to go to a dispensary, they like the THC light. This business, and I've said it, Mrs. Weedman, how many times, is for everybody to make money at, not just one entity or a handful of entities. This is the everybody plant to make a good, solid living, not for you to want to become a billionaire. Like there's some large companies that are billion-dollar companies. This is for everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Michigan's cannabis shops are locking it down after a surge of break-ins and robberies tied to lucrative resale of stolen weed. Not just cash grabs, dispensaries are upgrading cameras, panic buttons, silent alarms, and locked door systems, while enforcement teams with retailers to fight the wave. It's a wild reminder that where there's green, there's sometimes unseen folks cashing it or chasing it. Connecticut's medical marijuana patients don't pay tax on their cannabis as long as they're registered with the state's program at certified for approved conditions. Recreational cannabis for adults 21 plus do get taxed at 6.35% sales tax, 3% municipal, plus a cannabis tax based on THC milligrams. Patients can't get a break that rec buyers don't. Smooth move, Connecticut. Portland International Airport said relax and became the first U.S. airport to officially allow adults 21 plus to fly with weed. But there's a catch, everybody. As long as you stay in Oregon, it's still federally illegal, so you can't take off to another state with it. I even know how to do. Airport police get involved. Moral of the story: in-state flights only. Don't get cute and maybe finish the pre-roll before boarding. The Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations released recreational cannabis sales totals for the year. In 2025, Illinois dispensaries cannabis sales reached 1,500,740,852, with 52,146,122 total items sold.
Just a few.
They're down. We're down. Illinois is down.
I know.
We're down about, I think about, not much, probably about like maybe 5 to 7 million from versus 2024. But the crazy thing, if you look at the numbers per month, and December usually being one of the biggest months of the year was down terribly.
December was.
Mm-hmm. It's usually one of the biggest months of the
Yeah.
year. Yeah. And it wasn't a good. It was, and here's why though too. There's so many sales now. I mean, when you're going back in 2023, 2022, prices were very high.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about prices being anywhere between 15 to 40% sales.
Yep.
And there's sales every day. Some stores doing 50% off entire store regularly.
Crazy.
And you're still doing 1.5.
But that's what they have to do to keep up with their competition.
Right. But you're still doing 1.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the tax dollars is for
so
that.
So they're selling more volume maybe, but it's less.
More units sold.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know the state will probably do another 400 million again, but you don't deserve any of it. Illinois lawmakers are trying to clean up confusing cannabis rules that lets cops use the smell of raw weed as probable cause to search cars while burnt weed doesn't count. A new bill would remove the odor-proof container wording to the scent of cannabis, raw or burnt. Can't justify a vehicle search if you're 21 plus. It's small wording tweak and big implications. Illinois legislators just dropped bills SB 2954 and HB 4427 that would create a new prison education fund and redirected 0.5% of the cannabis regulation fund into it. The idea is to use adult use cannabis tax revenue to boost college-level programs for currently incarcerated students, giving folks a real shot at a degree inside. This is cannabis cash for the second chance, not just dispensary dreams. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like to thank Jason from Illinois News Joint. Always, banging out some great news articles. All 3 of those were from him, so I read his articles almost every day. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is once again pushing lawmakers to legalize adult use marijuana, saying a recent federal softening on cannabis policy under Trump clears the way. Shapiro wants a legalization framework that boosts revenue, helps local farmers, and cuts criminal justice costs. Without neighbors going legal, he says PA is mighty far behind and losing out on millions. Washington state senators just approved the SB 6204 bill to finally let adults 21 plus grow cannabis at home. Up to 6 plants per adult and 15 per household would be allowed. Plants must stay out of public view and smell, and renters or parolees could be restricted. It's a big step towards cultivation in the Evergreen State. This is updated from last time we talked about it, so this is the Senate now. Approved. Pretty good. Approved. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt stirred the pot again by calling to revisit and potentially roll back the state's voter-approved medical marijuana law, saying voters were misled and public safety has suffered. Man, this is another state. 6 states now that want to roll back. Top lawmakers aren't all on board. Senate leaders stress respecting the 2018 vote, while others echo concerns about industry issues. It's a mixed reaction in the Sooner State right now. And then Oklahoma's Attorney General, Genter Drummond, echoed the governor's misgivings about how the program was initially implemented, describing it as truly the Wild Wild West. But he also warned dismantling the program would likely trigger massive financial consequences. According to Drummond, the state could face obligations to reimburse hundreds of license holders for investments made under the existing law, because repealing or undermining the program could be seen as an unlawful taking. Ooh.
Wow.
Listen, I've been to Oklahoma a couple times to sell weed out there and help open up markets. And from when I went out there in 2020, it was the Wild West. Crazy. I liked it though, but you've heard me talk on other shows. It was just amazing. Standards, regulations, the stuff that this governor's been trying to implement over the last few years, I get it. But you have to have some standards. You have to calm it down just a little bit. If you take it away, Governor, you are a bad human. In Indiana, lawmakers are making it clear marijuana legalization isn't happening this year, even after President Trump's federally scheduling push to move cannabis to a less strict classifications. Republican leaders are advancing medical recreational bills and are focusing instead on tightening THC rules and ads. Advocates say it's frustrating, central, not a lack of public support, though, Mrs. Weedman. The people in Indiana want their weed because they're driving across the border to get their weed.
Mm-hmm.
So foolish Indiana government, man, just decriminalize it then and let people home grow.
Right.
You don't have to worry about it. So now I'm passing that joint over to you, Mrs. Weedman.
All righty. I've got some more political, state, and business news. A new federal push to ban hemp-derived THC drinks could wipe out a booming multi-billion-dollar market that's been a gateway for adults to try cannabis outside dispensaries. These THC beverages have helped normalize cannabinoids on grocery shelves and in mainstream retail, expanding the audience beyond traditional weed buyers. Killing them, critics say, would undo years of cultural progress. Lawmakers in multiple states are pushing bills to let qualifying medical condition cannabis patients, use marijuana inside hospitals and other health facilities. In places like Colorado, Delaware, Hawaii, Mississippi, New Mexico, New York, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Washington, proposals would require facilities to allow registered patients, often terminally ill, to use medical marijuana on site, usually in non-smoked forms under certain rules. That's huge. I hope that happens.
Me too.
Yeah, Oklahoma's Attorney General Gentner Drummond just announced Operation Blunt Force, a multi-state takedown of the Hao Chen organization, seizing about $1.5 billion worth of illicit marijuana, roughly 1 million pounds.
That's a lot of weed.
And arresting 20 people tied to fake medical marijuana licensing. Law enforcement executed over 50 warrants, seized guns, and even deported 4 suspects. That is a big bust. Ohio activists with Ohioans for Cannabis Choice have officially been cleared to start collecting signatures to get a referendum on the ballot to overturn the new cannabis restrictions in Senate Bill 56. After fixing language concerns with the Attorney General, they can now gather the roughly 250,000 signatures needed to give voters a chance to block the rollback and protect cannabis rights in Ohio.
I just read that the governor told all the people complaining about this, stop whining.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Told all of his constituents, just stop whining about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I believe you work for the people, right?
You said it. Thank you, Mrs. Weedman.
Yep.
They are our servants, not our
Yes.
masters.
That's right.
That's why I don't like the government.
In Maine, an anti-marijuana campaign missed their deadline to submit enough signatures for a ballot initiative that would have rolled back legalized cannabis. Organizers failed to turn in the required petitions by the state's cutoff, meaning the effort to undo Maine's cannabis laws won't appear on the year's ballot. For now, legalization stays on the books, and the rollback bid stays grounded. Good. Let them feel how it feels for a minute. These people, they didn't turn in their signatures, like in Florida. They're claiming the signatures aren't there. They're not legit.
Yep.
All right. The College of Southern Nevada, CSN, just launched new cannabis career certificate programs to help people step into the booming industry. Partnering with Greenflower, the school is offering online training in cultivation, manufacturing, compliance, and dispensary skills to get students job ready fast. It's education meeting real world weed work as the industry keeps growing and calling for skilled professionals. A new Missouri bill from Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman would make public marijuana use a level B misdemeanor. This is so dumb because Missouri's been doing really good with their laws and their rollout, and things have been going pretty well there. And then this doesn't even make sense. You legalized it, and now you're going to tell people you can't consume it outside. Okay, whatever. Punishable by up to $1,000 in fines or 6 months in jail. Seriously? That someone loses their job, potentially loses their home because they smoked a joint outside. That is legal.
These politicians
I understand,
don't care about us.
Whatever. Yeah.
They don't care about us.
I mean, you have to think too, like in high population, dense population areas. Like if you live in a high-rise building, it might be a smoke-free building. Well, if there's 1,000 people in that building,
You have to go outside.
you got to go outside. So what? They have to walk a mile away to go have a joint?
Right. No, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I mean, people have to have somewhere to consume. All right. Coleman says it's about cutting kids' exposure to smoke. Yeah, because everybody's going to go outside and blow smoke as the kid walks by and blow it in their face. It's like, come on. But critics warn harsher penalties could disproportionately impact people of color. That's the whole war on drugs. Bringing it back, Mary? Come on. It's a little late for that.
Mary.
Yeah, Yuki's even like, what's up, Mary? Florida's Attorney General withdrew his request for the Florida Supreme Court to review a marijuana legalization measure after state election officials said the campaign fell short on valid signatures needed to qualify for the ballot. That means no court fight right now over placing recreational cannabis legalization in front of voters this year. Campaigners still argue that counting issues affected the totals. I think so. The DEA is promoting an anti-marijuana PSA, public service announcement contest, tied to 420. But guess what? It's not a good one. Inviting high school students to submit videos warning their peers that cannabis is harmful for the developing brain, mental health, and your life. You're going to die. They're working with the anti-weed group, and they say entries must not imitate THC use or paraphernalia and must avoid profanity. Critics call the messaging awkward and outdated. Yeah, I agree.
You're going to see the commercial again with "This is your brain on drugs with the egg."
Yeah.
Someone's going to replay that.
From the
it's
80s.
And it's like the greatest thing ever. It's like, this is like the DA is supposed to be helping us go to Schedule 3.
Yeah.
Not
Not
promoting.
promoting that it's bad for everybody. Whatever.
Brutal.
Is there an age that maybe you shouldn't be using cannabis? Yes, but there's also kids within that age and young adults in that age group that are finding a lot of help for their mental health with cannabis and through cannabis and for seizure disorders and all sorts of anxiety and things. So, there's a lot of prescription drugs that will fuck you up even more than cannabis ever
Oh,
would.
yeah.
But that's okay. We'll just keep pushing those drugs on the kids.
Yep.
All right. Boop, bop, boop, bop. All right. A push to ban hemp-derived THC drinks could wipe out a thrive. Did I just read this already?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. A push to ban hemp-derived THC drinks could wipe out a thriving multi-billion-dollar market that's helped normalize cannabis in mainstream retail, advocates warn. These beverages got cannabinoids into grocery aisles and expanded the audience beyond dispensaries. Critics say killing hemp drinks now would undermine the growing acceptance of cannabis and reverse cultural progress that's already underway. Ohio's General Dave Yost just dropped a big antitrust lawsuit on 9 major multi state cannabis companies, including Ascend Wellness, Air Wellness, Curaleaf, Green Thumb Industries, Jushi, Trulieve, and more, alleging they concluded to limit product choice. How about that? Keep prices high. How about that? And squeeze out small Ohio growers by making reciprocal deals and controlling shelf space. Ha. The suit seeks to protect competition and consumers under Ohio's antitrust law. Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Back to you, Mr. Weedman.
Vermont lawmakers are considering a bill that would expand the retail cannabis marketplace by requiring all towns that haven't yet voted on allowing dispensaries to put the question to voters by year's end. Right now, only about one-third have opted in, leaving the clumps of stores in places like Burlington while other communities sit dry. This plan aims to spread the green love. Tiger slugger Javier Baez won't play in the 2026 World Baseball Classic because he's serving 2-year suspension from the World Baseball Softball Confederation for a positive marijuana test at the 2023 WBC. MLB and the Tigers won't discipline him. Marijuana isn't banned in the big leagues, but international rules still bar him. That means no Puerto Rico WBC action this year for Javi. Bummer. A disabled Marine Corps veteran who owns the cannabis place in the Middle Village says New York cannabis regulators are threatening his pot shop by delaying his license renewal after he switched union affiliation, putting his 30 employees' jobs at risk. He calls it a bureaucratic betrayal of priority groups like veterans, even as officials say he can legally operate while the renewal is considered. The FDA is facing a deadline this week to publish 3 federal cannabinoid lists and clarify what counts as hemp products container under the new appropriations law President Trump signed. The guidance will shape how the looming federal overhaul of hemp rules, including a shift of total THC standards that could drastically limit hemp products, gets implemented. New York promised cannabis equity, and now the Bronx Cannabis Hub is delivering it as a real-world model. The hub helps justice-impacted residents navigating licenses, business setups, and legal support so those hit hardest by prohibition get a fair shot at the market. It's minimal investment with maximum equity action, moving beyond words to real opportunities in the legal cannabis industry. Kentucky governor announced that the medical marijuana gummies are now available at the state dispensaries. You can get gummies now in Kentucky, giving patients their first edible access under the new program. He's also urging lawmakers to expand the list of qualifying conditions, potentially opening relief for hundreds of thousands more Kentuckians with serious health issues, but it's take legislative approval to make that happen. Man, he likes his weed. I mean, he's always excited when something new is coming out. Wisconsin senators just approved a GOP-led bill to legalize medical marijuana in the state as Democrats push broader recreational legalization bill at the Capitol. A GOP measure focuses on limited medical access, while Democrats argue full legalization is overdue with neighbors already legalizing the public support. It's 2 different paths in the Badger State right now. Listen, Wisconsin, come across the table. Start with a good medical program for 2 years. Get the medical program up and running. Get it going. It's going to take a year. Once your constituents come out and vote for medical and it passes, it's going to take you a year to get the laws written and everything done and then get all the people licensed and stuff like that. But I mean, you're 2 to 3 years away before you even get your first sale sold. Trust me. Get the medical done now. And then between the first year medical opens up and sale, then start talking recreational. And come across the aisle. See how medical goes first. See the mistakes you might have made going into medical, what you could do better for recreational. Okay? Keep the taxes at a minimum. Keep them low so people can afford good weed. You got great soil up in Wisconsin. You guys can grow some great weed up there. Just come together and make this shit work. Start medical. Start slow. Work it out. It's 2 to 3 years before you even make a sale. So, come on. You could do it. I want to go to Wisconsin and Lake Geneva and smoke some weed. I want to go to Madison and smoke some weed. I want to go to Milwaukee. I want to go to Door County, and I want to go to the Dells, and I want to go to Fond du Lac, and I don't know, all the places that I like and been to, and smoke some weed. So come on, Wisconsin. Scientists and advocates blasted the anti-marijuana group Smart Approaches to Marijuana, SAM, After it blocked drug policy reform experts from attending its own 2026 Good Drug Policy Summit in Washington, D.C. Sam marketed the summit as a place for researchers and nonprofits to learn about drug issues, but critics say rejecting their participation and refunding tickets was pretty ironic for a policy event. Believe it or not, the Super Bowl is quietly becoming cannabis' biggest retail moment outside traditional holidays. Retail data shows cannabis sales start climbing nearly 2 weeks before kickoff, peak the Saturday before the game, and stay elevated even after the Monday post-game lift. Yeah, all the people that lost money, they're pissed. They need to get high. With pre-rolls, THC beverages, and concentrates driving big spikes. It's now predictable, repeatable cannabis sales event brands, and retailers can actually plan for it. The Arkansas Supreme Court ruled lawmakers can amend voter-approved constitutional amendments, meaning the legislature can now roll back medical marijuana access that was enshrined by voters. Supporters say it gives lawmakers power to tweak rules, while critics warn retroactive changes could undo years of work and voter will on cannabis reform in the natural state. Okay, so Oklahoma, right? Maine didn't get on the fucking docket. Ha ha, we won. But you have Massachusetts, that's going to go be on the docket to vote. Arizona, right? Oklahoma, Arkansas. I mean, come on now. And there's talks of some other states now too. And then Florida just missed out on the vote for 2026 because there was some dirtiness going on with the government there. I mean, this is just
the people want it in Florida.
Of course they do,
but they keep dancing around. The government keeps dancing around.
I mean, I tell you what. I mean, this is 2026, and we're still in fighting every day to keep a plant alive. Seriously, it's a fucking plant.
When people want it. Obviously, that's why there's been a black market that has been very successful.
And traditional market and people growing a plant in their closet for themselves. It's just, oh my goodness. A GOP senator says President Trump was poorly advised on moving marijuana out of Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substance Act, arguing you don't need to reschedule just to boost research and that the change could hurt workforce and economic growth. He raised the concern directly with Trump, but they ultimately disagreed on the policy direction. An ex-New Jersey cannabis commissioner says Trenton finally got the weed law right, but now state agencies must finish the job by issuing clear rules, speeding up licenses, and forcing equity testing. And consumer protections so legal cannabis workers and as voters intend. The work now shifts from paper to real-world rollout. That's where the magic and accountability happens. And that is the news, everybody. Ms. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
Before you go, can we smoke some of that?
I was thinking I shouldn't because I might not be able to
wonderful garlic breath?
Okay.
It's not very hard when I'm smoking weed with Mrs. Weedman and I say, she says she's done. I'm like, well, I'm going to take another couple of hits. And she goes, okay, I'll take another hit. It's not hard to twist Mrs. Weedman's arm.
It's really not.
At all. Every night. I'm like, you done? You're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take another hit or two. Okay, I'll take another hit. So I'm hitting this J. Ms. Weedman's going to tell you about who the hell killed the U.S. cannabis market. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to take one out of, what is that show? Oh, it's not Comedy Central. I can't believe South Park. I'm going to take one out of South Park. You ready? It's a song that Robin Williams sang. Blame Canada, blame Canada, blame Canada, and the investment bankers from Canada. If all you out there that watch South Park, you know it was early days of South Park, and it was funny, and the song was called Blame Canada.
So this article is pretty interesting because we, in the last year, saw a lot of changes in cannabis business in Illinois. And as you know, Mr. Weedman and I go to a lot of cannabis events. We've been to networking events. We've been to conventions. We've been in the presence of some of the big players of cannabis. And oftentimes we would leave those events and just kind of scratch our head like, where do these people, like, where are they getting this money from? Like, where... Well, I don't even get it. Like where they're like where we've talked about it on the show numerous times how like we just skipped over the way businesses have developed in the United States for centuries.
250 years.
Keep mom and pop, or a mom or a pop starts their little home-based business, and then they're like, "Oh, this is kind of doing well." And they get a little store, and then they get an employee, and then maybe they're good there. And then there's other ones who get another employee and another, and then there's others who are like, "Ooh, this is doing so good, let's get another store." And there became franchising, and there became retail stores, and there became then big, big companies, box stores, right? But it started from someone's idea in their home, or at their school, whatever. It started small and grew. And we would just like scratch our head, like, where, wha- maybe it's just because it's cannabis and it's just such a new industry. It still doesn't make sense. The business isn't there to support all the dollars that are going into it. And these big people, and they're hiring all these C-suite executives, and they're paying, you know, triple six-figure incomes to these people, times how many they're putting into all these roles, and they wanted to make sure they had every role filled with every C-suite title you could possibly have, and they had the best equipment and the biggest facilities, and like, and then there's, when we got it started, there's 3,000 medical patients. Like, who's sustaining that? Again, now you had all that money to start that infrastructure, but now you've got to maintain that until there's enough
Yeah,
business,
we said it all the time, remember?
right? And then it got to the point where the mom and pops that did open up couldn't thrive because of regulations and all of these things. And then they started acquiring and buying more and buying more. I'm like, we're just going straight to Nike. We're just going straight to, Best Buy. That we aren't even having the local, Jenny's Deli, and we're not having anything simple. We are going from, you grow it in your basement,
It went from the underground
or you
streets.
get it at Best Buy. There's just nothing in between. Well, it's all kind of cannibalizing on itself. And so this is the one person's perspective on why that's happening. Whew, got a lot of breath on that.
I love when you get in your soapbox.
Well, it's just maddening because so
Oh,
many
I
people
know.
put everything on the table to have this business.
Right.
And it was all
So many
supposed to
people
be about
lost.
minorities. It was supposed to be about the people who were, incriminated for nonviolent crimes. It was supposed to be about equity, first and foremost, before it went to anybody, right? And it just was none of that. The people who maybe were the mom and pops and were the social equity, they didn't get the dollars behind them like some other companies, right? And so those people just ultimately have gotten gobbled up or
Yep.
shut down. And it's sad. And that's not the way did you want the joint? I see you
Mm,
eyeballing
just look at it. Maybe.
it. You should need to see it.
Maybe I was thinking about it.
So let's get to the article. On a sunny afternoon in Santa Monica in the spring of 2018, I sat on a hotel patio with the owners of two up and coming cannabis businesses, one a popular low cost brand, and the other a NorCal farming co op. I had an all cash offer from investors in Toronto for roughly $100 million to acquire both of their companies in a roll up go public play. They told me they were waiting for something closer to 10 times that amount.
Should have took the money.
I wasn't that surprised. Cannabis was hot, and stories of massive paydays were being recounted with hushed excitement in grow rooms and boardrooms alike. With Canadian public companies like Canopy Growth reporting multi-billion-dollar investments from multinational liquor conglomerates and their market cap surging to around $12 billion, the excitement was infectious. As the next years would show, this magical thinking pervaded the whole industry, the result of a tried and true scheme that made a bunch of Canadian investment bankers very rich while poisoning the heart of U.S. cannabis. As California cities rolled out their retail application processes, my own little cannabis company was acquiring licenses and making small investments along the supply chain, attempting to build a robust and resilient, anti-fragile ecosystem, uncertain about how this industry would shake out. We had partnered with the largest cannabis retailer in California, helping them expand statewide while turning cheaply acquired local licenses and elbow grease into a meaningful ownership stake in the company. Its California sales approached roughly $250 million in 2020, and we had front row seats to the spectacular crash that followed. The market and its promise peaked during the first 2 years of COVID. As Americans hunkered in their homes, our on demand delivery platform took full advantage of the concurrent surge in delivery services and broader recreational drug use. But as government stimulus money started to dry up and America tentatively emerged from lockdowns, it became clear that the California market was in shambles. Retail dispensaries couldn't pay invoices, wholesale cannabis prices cratered, killing cultivators from Ventura to Humboldt, and capital dried up. In some cases, the black market had figured out how to get legally grown cannabis out of the California track and trace system and onto trucks destined for other states, distorting demand signals and leading to massive overproductions and subsequent price crash. A flurry of mergers and acquisitions began as receiverships and bankruptcies rocketed the industry. Harborside Dispensary, a bedrock of California anti-prohibitionist activism, was repackaged by a former Barclays Bank executive and smashed together with San Diego retail giant Urban Leaf and legacy brand Loudpack. By the end of 2024, the new entity, State House, had filed for bankruptcy, ending 20 years of business in the Oakland weed scene. Those are big players. They're gone. Around the same time, Jay-Z's brand
What a
Monogram
dog shit brand that was.
Monogram and its parent company tipped into insolvency and were stripped for parts. Flow Canna, MedMen was here in Chicago. They were a big player in the beginning. Like, we knew some people that got hired from them, and everybody thought they were like going to be the next Bill Gates, they were doing big things. Well, companies that were held up as exemplars of new cannabis followed suit, having burned through hundreds of millions of dollars by industry estimates, their ever-present billboards yellowing in the California sun. By 2025, the list of bankruptcies, foreclosures, and receiverships had grown to include many of the companies that had picked up the pieces of the previous year's insolvencies. At the same time, retail sales, which peaked in 2021 at almost $6 billion, shrank to around $4 billion. The inevitable post-mortems have been just as fast and furious. Incompetent and corrupt politicians, state taxes, federal taxes, cost of capital, regulations, the black market, the bankers, the gangsters, the lawyers. And while all of them have a hand in the U.S. cannabis market's downfall, they are simply symptoms of the real problem, and that is Canadian capital markets. Canadian investment bankers, to be precise. These penny stock mining hucksters knew a perfect storm when they saw one, and they took the industry for a ride. There are 4 primary culprits that enabled this grift. 1, investors were conditioned by tech sector into using something called gross revenue to assess the potential value of a company rather than how much it actually made.
Mhm.
2, federal illegality in the U.S. constricted access to traditional banking and liquidity, creating a dangerous and desperate blindness to risks associated with the types of funding and strings attached. Know your contracts before you sign them.
Mhm.
3, soaring speculative, but see, everybody thought they were just going to like there was this endless amount of money that they were going to make.
Mhm.
So maybe they didn't care about the contracts. So look where they are now. 3, soaring speculative valuations in the Canadian cannabis market served as proof of concept, quote unquote, propping up even the riskiest deals. And 4, as the informal market transitioned into a legal market, investors without sufficient historical data were unable to properly assess the road ahead. These conditions meant bankers could convince the industry to build companies that looked like big companies. You get that? The bank was building companies, just basically giving them whatever they needed. Just do everything that the big stores do.
Mhm.
Rather than building lean, nimble businesses able to adjust and withstand the challenges and uncertainty facing the new U.S. cannabis market. Entrepreneurs tinkled with board compositions, with leadership teams, and excessive salaries and complicated financing structures. Instead of considering rational infrastructure needs or operating efficiencies, entrepreneurs were fed narratives by men with disarming Canadian accents, designed to inflate cannabis companies for the stock market rather than build sustainable businesses. Canadian investment bankers and stock promoters delighted in the fact that because of cannabis's illegality at the U.S. federal level, companies with American assets were blocked from both the U.S. stock market and the Toronto Stock and Venture exchanges. That meant that the most attractive place for these listings was the Canadian Securities Exchange, which had significantly lower disclosure and oversight requirements. In the years prior to the 2023 collapse, there were signals that the hyper-focus on building big companies was driving an insatiable need for more capital, requiring stock prices and company valuations, and it was increasingly untethered to any rational analysis. By 2020, California cannabis businesses had purchased an estimated $600 million worth of THC oil extraction equipment, when closer to 70 million would have been sufficient to supply the entire California market.
Wow.
Success was just around the corner, said the bankers. American novelist Upton Sinclair once wrote, "It is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it." A senior executive from Flower One, a large-scale indoor cultivator that had roared to massive success in the early days of Nevada's recreational
I worked
cannabis
with them a little
market,
bit.
told me they planned to spend around $100 million on a California
I remember
facility.
that.
When I asked why the cost was so high, he said, quote, "Our investors want a state-of-the-art facility with robots assisting operations." After 50 years of being grown in musty basements and remote backwoods, one of the most competent growers in the world had been convinced by bankers that the future was robots. By 2022, the company was filing for bankruptcy protections, that is, in a British Columbian court and was delisted from the CSE. Creditors got back roughly 10 cents on the dollar, while common shareholders got nothing. The investment bankers, they walked away with millions. Billions of dollars appear to have gone up in smoke, and a rusting cannabis infrastructure now litters California's cities. Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Arizona, and Colorado face similarly dire straits. Even the businesses that survived these initial crashes were left infected by the market's structural faults, unable to pivot fast enough to respond to the new reality. As inflation surged and the global economy contracted, the capital spigots turned off, leaving these lumbering giants no longer supported by the scaffolding of financial markets to collapse under their own weight. So here we sit in the ruins of an industry that held so much promise, descheduling, banking, and federal tax relief all sitting on the horizon, bumping cannabis stocks around like a pinball machine. But as we watch the world now fret about the AI investment bubble, I'm left asking myself, was what happened and may happen to U.S. cannabis the fault of greedy Canadian investment bankers? Or is there a more pernicious problem at the heart of our economic system? For cannabis, it seems the tail is wagging the dog.
Well,
Crazy.
and Canada, I don't blame you. I blame the suits of Canada. I blame the bankers, just like I blame the bankers and the suits in the U.S. too, and actually around the world. So Canada, I love you. Never forget that. And I love your national anthem too. I sing it quite often.
I think you sang it last week.
I did. So I don't blame the Canadian folk. I blame the suits for all of this shit. You don't start big right away and think you're going to grow bigger. You start small and you grow. And then you grow and you grow and you look at the market and you say, okay, we need to dial back, but we didn't grow too big right now because we didn't need it. And then you get bigger as needed and you get better infrastructure as needed and you update your because you didn't take all this money out. And like I said, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. You know, people that got fucked along the way are walking funny tomorrow. you know? So I just made that up too, by
Mhm.
the way.
Interesting.
International news. Epsilon Pharma, a subsidiary of the Australian cannabis maker Epsilon Healthcare, just won HALA Australia certification for its CBD and THC oil dosage forms, showing its onshore manufacturer meets strict HALA standards for handling, processing, and storage. It's a big deal. Can now unlock new export markets in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and other HALA regulated regions, boosting growth in international partnerships. Jaycana just hit major milestone by completing its first medical cannabis export to Cayman Islands, shipping organically cultivated sun-grown Jamaican cannabis products on January 7th, 2026. This move not only introduces patients in the Cayman Islands to Jamaican medical cannabis, but also establishes a complement export pathway for future international markets as part of the company's global expansion strategy. Guana's Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit is warning the public about the online advertising and sale of small carton themed Ziploc packaging, often used for selling marijuana and other drugs, saying it fuels distribution. It could appeal to weird corners of the market. It's basically a "don't get sucked in" alert about how drug deals can start with cute bags online. The European Union's top court ruled against Hungary's hardline cannabis stance, finding Budapest broke EU law by voting against the bloc agreed positions on reclassifying cannabis at the United Nations Commissions on narcotic drugs. The court said Hungary's move undermined EU unity and cooperation, and ordered it to pay legal costs. It's a clear rebuke for bucking the EU consensus on cannabis policy. The United Nations Office on Drug and Crime reports that in Afghanistan, more people use cannabis than opium now, reversing the traditional patterns that were opium dominated.
That's good.
Awesome. Yep. South Africa has just put draft cannabis regulations out for public comment under the Cannabis for Private Purpose Act of 2024, and they want your feedback by March 5th of 2026. So come on, South Africa. The research article Between Facts and Ambiguity, Discourse on Medical Cannabis in Swedish newspapers looked at how Swedish print media talked about medical cannabis from 2015 to 2020. By analyzing 134 new pieces, it found coverage ranged widely from scientific medical potential to vague mentions, showing that media framing mixes and hard facts with ambiguity, shaping public ideas about cannabis health issues. In Thailand, three major political parties now, the People's Party, the Democrat Party, and the Pew Pew Thai Party have vowed to ban sales of cannabis and put it back in the narcotics list if elected. What? Signaling a majority policy shift and ongoing debates over regulation and public health. It's a bold political move ahead of the upcoming elections in that kingdom. Find a new party, Thailand, and vote them in. Don't vote those other three in, especially the Pew Pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
A new UK medical cannabis survey found that roughly 9 in 10 cancer patients using prescribed cannabis reported symptoms of relief, with 97% saying their quality of life improved, and most experiencing low to no side effects. Hell yeah. Germany's cannabis scene is seriously buzzing. Online cannabis sales are booming as doctors across the country write prescriptions and pharmacies mail out the pot, turning digital dispensaries into everyday retail like picking up socks online. But the government is racing to catch up, debating tighter rules and in-person prescriptions to rein in imports and shape the industry's future amid explosive demand and growth. The European Food Safety Authority has set a provisional safe daily limit for hemp-derived CBD, a non-intoxicating compound found in sweets, teas, coffees, and other products. It's 0.0275 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, roughly 2 milligrams a day or 70 kilograms adult. They stress the number is very cautious because scientists still lack long-term data, especially on liver, immune, and neurological effects, and excluded people under 25. Pregnant and breastfeeding women, those on medication from guidance. Regulators may revise it as more evidence emerges. And that's international news, everybody. A lot this week. I love. The more international news we get, the more I know weeds in the air around the world. I love it. So this is we're honoring basically a lover of cannabis, the first stoner of San Francisco. We're honoring, with a puff Mrs. Weedman's taking right now, honoring Wayne Justman, San Francisco's original stoner. This goes out to you, from one stoner burner pothead to another. Thank you for all you did for cannabis and just being you, Wayne.
Yep. He worked the door at Dennis Peron's Buyers Club. He witnessed legalization firsthand, and he treasured the cannabis community. I will miss that loud shotgun voice. Hang on, I took a hit.
You took a puff in honor of
Now I
Wayne.
got a scratchy voice. Pardon me. I will miss that loud shotgun voice shouting bingo at Bongo Bingo at Mission Cannabis Club. I never had a doubt who that voice belonged to. Wayne Justman, cannabis pioneer, lover of bingo, and friend to the community. Sadly, Wayne left us to the to join the great dispensary in the sky. He's smoking a bowl with old friends like Dennis Perone and Brownie Mary. The cannabis community is left with one less original stoner who can tell the story of how the plant became legal. Wayne loved his role as cannabis ambassador. He had a natural curiosity and enjoyed being social. He was always approachable, and sometimes, usually, he would approach you. There I was at Mo Green's 4 years ago, putting my first night of drag cannabis bingo together. As I was trying to figure out how to get the music to play properly, a tall, handsome man with long, tousled, gray hair approached me with a smile. He had a cane in one hand and the other was outstretched toward me, looking for a handshake. Hello, I am Wayne Justman. We are so excited to be here tonight, he said as he shook my hand. Ah, if I was 20 years younger, he purred as he looked me in the eye and gave me a wink. Wayne and his wonderful group of friends would be at almost every bingo night, first at Moe's Green Dispensary and later at Mission Cannabis Club. Most times I would come dragging in, and there they would all be, waiting on me to get it all set up and sell them some bingo cards. If he was late, I would get texts telling me to reserve his space. Being a social animal, Wayne met, chatted up, and toked with any and every cannabis person who worked the bongo bingo shift. As soon as I would announce the brand rep, up Wayne would pop from his booth with an outstretched hand. I made sure everyone knew that they were playing with cannabis medical patient number 1, a true piece of cannabis history, sucking on a Tootsie Pop, holding a bingo card, and in the booth right next to them. He loved it. Wayne was right there in the beginning with Dennis Perone, Brownie Mary, Eddie Lepp, Jack Herrera, and all the other cannabis pioneers. Wayne worked the door at Perone's San Francisco Buyers Club, which was the first medical cannabis dispensary found in 1992, and became involved in the movement to make medical cannabis legal that became Prop 215. It passed in 1996. After that, Wayne became a pivotal, compassionate care activist, making sure cannabis was available to everyone who needed it. Considering all that he gave, it felt great for me to give back to him. I was so happy to provide a social outlet for him to enjoy his final years with his friends and community. Wayne sat front and center at San Francisco Pride 2 years ago as recreational cannabis was sold and consumed in its own special area for the first time. The stage hosted weed bingo, drag shows, DJ, and outdoor smoking lounge. He told me he was so happy to be able to be part of the history that Pride weekend, excited to watch the progress taking place in the cannabis world. Last November, I produced a game show fundraiser called San Francisco Squares, a play on the legendary TV show The Hollywood Squares. Wayne was the first person I called up and invited to be a square, and he eagerly accepted. Throughout his life, he showed up continuously and did the work that was his heart and soul telling him to do. That was why he was so good at it. And now it's time for us to pick up where he left off. Let's all remember Wayne Justman and tell the stories that will become legends as we mourn his passing and celebrate his life and accomplishments. Stay high forever, Wayne.
This joint's for you, Wayne.
That's right.
Yeah, amazing.
Sounds like a cool person.
Yeah, I would have liked to have met him, hung out, smoked a bowl, smoked a joint, played some bingo.
That'd be cool.
And maybe you would have liked it because he maybe gave you a Tootsie Roll Pop.
Yeah, right. We'd be friends forever.
Yes. Oh, rest in peace, rest in power, rest in love, Wayne. Appreciate the fight. Keep on fighting up there for us, will you? Ms. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
That's the end of the show.
That is.
Got anything else to say before we go?
Yeah, let's smoke some more and yeah, I don't even know, Mr. Weedman. That maybe I don't need to smoke some more. It's really an interesting strain.
Oh, Ignius, thank you for going to the cause,
good.
brother. Thank you,
Yeah.
Big Earl, for giving him the cut. So we're closer and closer every day to this wonderful strain of garlic breath. It smells like. All right, everybody. We love you out there. We need some peace. We need some kindness. We need some love from everybody out there. We need to come together as a community, as people. Fuck the government. They all suck. They don't care about you. Care about us. We need to care about us as one people here. All of us. Every single one of us. I love you all. Peace be with you all. Ms. Weedman, I love you. As
Mr.
Paulie
Weedman.
always says, smoke smart, puff puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.